communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here are today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. The White House Easter egg roll is back for the first time since before the coronavirus pandemic. Under rainy skies Monday, President Joe Biden and his wife Jill hosted the first of some 30,000 kids and adults for an all-day event the First Lady has dubbed the Egg-ucation Roll. The COVID-19 pandemic led the White House to cancel the Easter egg roll in 2020 and 2021. But the event is back this year as the outbreak of coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths has eased. In quotes. This year we're finally getting together again, and it's so special. End quotes. The president told guests gathered on the South Lawn for the celebration. Next news. For many U.S. Christians, this weekend marked the first time since 2019 that they gathered in person on Easter Sunday. A welcome chance to celebrate one of the year's holiest days side by side with fellow congregants. Notable events included a 6 a.m. sunrise mass outdoors near the waterfront in South Boston, and a joyous, hug-filled service at St. Peter Claver, a historically Black congregation in St. Paul, Minnesota. Another mostly Black congregation, Watson Grove Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee, had hoped for an outdoor service at a downtown park. But rain forced a last-minute change of plans, and about 700 mask-wearing worshippers met instead in the church's sanctuary for what Senior Pastor John Faison said was by far their biggest indoor gathering during the pandemic. Next news. When Hurricane Ida hit last summer, a storm surge overwhelmed a levee and gushed into Ted Falgout's coastal Louisiana home, destroying his furniture and the beloved framed photos of his twin sons kissing him on their first day of school. Then again, when they graduated high school, in quotes, that water was probably 60% mud, end quotes, said Falgout, who's hoping relief is on the way for his community in La Rose, about 30 miles southwest of New Orleans. As climate change makes hurricanes stronger and wetter and increases storm surges, cities on the Louisiana coast and Mississippi River are hoping President Biden's $1.2 trillion infrastructure package will provide badly needed funding to fortify locks, levees, and other flood protections. But community groups and advocates fear smaller cities will struggle to navigate the maze of government programs and miss out on the rare chance to protect against rising waters and heavy rains. Next news. Shots fired at a house party in Pittsburgh early Sunday killed two 17-year-olds and wounded at least 8 other people, police said. Hundreds of people, the vast majority of them minors, had gathered at a short-term rental property when some kind of altercation occurred and shots were fired at around 12:30 a.m. Pittsburgh Police Chief Scott Schubert said at a midday news conference. Schubert said there was gunfire both inside and outside the rental home, in quotes, and potentially back and forth, end quotes. Bullet casings found at the scene indicating handguns and one rifle were used, he said, and police believe there were multiple shooters. 2 male gunshot victims died at the hospital. The Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office identified them as Jaden Brown and Matthew Steffi Ross, both 17. 8 people were also being treated for gunshot wounds, and others were injured trying to escape, Schubert said, including 2 who broke bones after jumping from windows. One victim was injured after a car was, in quotes, shot up, Schubert said. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. InfoWars filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as the website's founder and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones faces defamation lawsuits over his comments that the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting was a hoax, according to Alex Jones. The bankruptcy filing Sunday in Texas puts civil litigation on hold while the business reorganizes its finances. In its court filing, InfoWars said it had estimated assets of 50,000 US dollars or less and estimated liabilities of 1 million US dollars to 10 million US dollars. Creditors listed in the bankruptcy filing include relatives of some of the 20 children and 6 educators killed in the 2012 school massacre in Connecticut. The plaintiffs in that case have said they have been subjected to harassment and death threats from Alex Jones's followers because of the hoax conspiracy that Jones promoted. Jones has since conceded the shooting did happen. The families have already won defamation lawsuits against Alex Jones. Next news. The Biden administration is taking a key step toward ensuring that federal dollars will support U.S. manufacturing, issuing requirements for how projects funded by the $1 trillion US dollar bipartisan infrastructure package source their construction material. New guidance issued Monday requires that the material purchased, whether it's for a bridge, a highway, a water pipe, or broadband internet, be produced in the U.S. However, the rules also set up a process to waive those requirements in case there are not enough domestic producers or the material costs would be too much, with the goal of issuing fewer waivers over time as U.S. manufacturing capacity increases. In quotes, there are going to be additional opportunities for good jobs in the manufacturing sector, end quotes, said Celeste Drake, director of Made in America at the White House Office of Management and Budget. Next news. The Supreme Court is declining to wade into a lawsuit filed by 4 New York City public school employees over a policy that they be vaccinated against COVID-19. Lower courts had previously allowed the policy to go into effect while litigation continued, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor had also rejected an emergency request that the policy be put on hold. The justices said Monday they wouldn't get involved in the dispute. As is typical, the justices did not say anything in rejecting the case, and it was one of more than 100 the court turned away. New York City began requiring public school employees to be vaccinated in the fall of 2021. Courts had declined to bar the city from enforcing their policy, which applies to some 150,000 employees and has religious and medical exemptions. 3 of the teachers involved in the case have been fired, and a 4th has taken extended leave. Next news. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected a challenge from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Maryland to the 2017 tax law that capped federal tax deductions for state and local taxes. The lawsuit had previously been dismissed by lower courts. It argued that the Republican-led tax law signed by then-President Donald J. Trump unfairly singled out high-tax states in which Democrats predominate. The law caps a deduction for state and local taxes, known as SALT, SALT, at $10,000 US. The lawsuit claimed that lawmakers crafted the provision to target Democratic states, interfering with the state's constitutionally granted taxing authority. Legislation to raise the cap has passed the House of Representatives, but not the Senate. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. Russian forces launched missile attacks on the western city of Lviv and pounded other targets across Ukraine on Monday in an intensified bid to wear down the country's defenses ahead of an all-out assault on the east. At least 7 people were reported killed in Lviv, where plumes of thick black smoke rose over a city that had become a relative haven for people fleeing intense fighting farther east during almost 2 months of war. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, meanwhile, vowed to fight absolutely to the end in strategically vital Mariupol, where the last known pocket of resistance in the 7-week siege consisted of Ukrainian fighters holed up in a sprawling steel plant laced with tunnels. The holdouts ignored a surrender or die ultimatum from the Russians. The governor of the Lviv region, Maxim Kozitsky, said the Russian missile strikes hit 3 military infrastructure facilities and an auto mechanic shop. He said the wounded included a child, and emergency teams battled fires caused by the attack. Next news. During a visit to Syria in 2017, Vladimir Putin lavished praise on a Syrian general whose division played an instrumental role in defeating insurgents in the country's long-running civil war. The Russian president told him his cooperation with Russian troops, in quotes, will lead to great successes in the future. Quotes. Now, members of Brig General Suhail al-Hassan's division are among hundreds of Russian-trained Syrian fighters who have reportedly signed up to fight alongside Russian troops in Ukraine, including Syrian soldiers, former rebels, and experienced fighters who fought for years against the Islamic State group in Syria's desert. So far, only a small number appears to have arrived in Russia for military training ahead of deployment on the front lines. Although Kremlin officials boasted early in the war of more than 16,000 applications from the Middle East, U.S. officials and activists monitoring Syria say there have not yet been significant numbers of fighters from the region joining the war in Ukraine. Next news. Israeli troops shot and wounded 2 Palestinians on Monday during clashes that broke out during an arrest raid in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli military said it arrested 11 Palestinians in operations across the territory, overnight, in a raid in the village of Yamun, near the city of Yanin. The army said dozens of Palestinians hurled rocks and explosives at troops. Soldiers, in quotes, responded with live ammunition, end quotes, toward, end quote, in quotes, suspects who hurled explosive devices, end quotes, the military said. The Palestinian Health Ministry said 2 men were hospitalized after being critically wounded. Israel has carried out a wave of arrest raids and other operations in recent weeks that it says are aimed at preventing further attacks after Palestinian assailants killed at least 14 people inside Israel. 2 of the attackers came from, in, and around Yemen, which has long been a bastion of armed struggle against Israeli rule. Next news. The leader of the Anglican Church strongly criticized the British government's plan to put some asylum seekers on one-way flights to Rwanda, saying, in quotes, subcontracting our responsibilities, end quotes, to refugees can't stand up to God's scrutiny. Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, made the unusually direct political intervention in his Easter Sunday sermon, saying there are, in quotes, serious ethical questions about sending asylum seekers overseas, end quotes. He said, in quotes, subcontracting out our responsibilities even to a country that seeks to do well, like Rwanda, is the opposite of the nature of God, who himself took responsibility for our failures. End quotes. Speaking at Canterbury Cathedral in southeast England, Welby said that while, in quotes, the details are for politics and politicians, the principle must stand the judgment of God, and it cannot. End quotes. Britain and Rwanda announced Thursday that they had struck an agreement that will see some people arriving in the UK as stowaways on trucks or in small boats sent 4,000 miles. That's 6,400 kilometers to the East African country, where their asylum claims will be processed. If successful, they will stay in Rwanda. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thank you for being with us. Russia's President Vladimir Putin says that the barrage of Western sanctions against Russia has failed. Putin said Monday that the West, in quotes, expected to quickly upset the financial economic situation, provoke panic in the markets, collapse of the banking system, and shortages in stores, end quotes. He added that, in quotes, the strategy of the economic blitz has failed, end quotes. The Russian leader spoke in televised remarks during a video call with top economic officials. Putin noted that, in quotes, Russia has withstood the unprecedented pressure, end quotes, arguing that the ruble has strengthened and the country has recorded a historic high trade surplus of $58 billion in the first quarter of the year. Instead, he contended that the sanctions backfired against the US and its European allies, speeding up inflation and leading to a drop in living standards. Putin acknowledged a sharp hike in consumer prices in Russia, saying they rose by 17.5% as of April on a year-to-year basis, and directing the government to index wages and other payments to alleviate the impact of inflation on people's incomes. Next news. Sweden said Monday they consider the violent riots that have shaken several cities and towns in the Nordic country extremely serious crimes against society, and suspect some protesters are linked to criminal gangs that intentionally target police. Sweden, a nation of 10 million people, has seen unrest, scuffles, arson, and violence since Thursday that has left some police officers and protesters injured. It was triggered by Danish far-right politician Rasmus Paludan's meetings and planned Quran burnings across the country. In quotes, we suspect that those involved in the riots have links to criminal gangs, end quotes. National Police Commissioner Anders Thornberg told a news conference on Monday, adding, some of those criminal individuals are known to police. In quotes. I have been in touch with the public prosecutor to prosecute these individuals. End quotes. Sweden's National Police Commander Jonas Heising said Monday that 26 police and 14 individuals, protesters, or other people have been injured in the riots, and 20 police vehicles destroyed or have been damaged. Next news. For her third birthday party, Beanie Feldstein was asked what she wanted for its theme. The answer was obvious to her and anyone who knew her. Funny girl. Even at the tender age of 3, Feldstein was a super fan of the musical Funny Girl, blasting the cast album and watching the Barbara Streisand-led film about Ziegfeld Follies comedian Fanny Brice on repeat. In quotes, I thought you could just go to Party City and buy a Barbara Streisand as Fanny Brice balloon, like you could buy an Elmo one, end quotes, says Feldstein. In quotes, they were the same thing to me. I didn't understand the difference. Beauty and the Beast, Elmo, and Funny Girl. It was just my favorite thing. In quotes. Fast forward a few decades, and Feldstein isn't just in the first Broadway revival of Funny Girl. She's starring in the Streisand role. Now, she feels as full as a balloon at a birthday party. Next news. Jason Tatum has been adamant he didn't view the Celtics matchup with the Nets as a chance to prove anything opposite two of the league's elite scorers. His finish in Game 1 said otherwise. Tatum made a layup at the buzzer on a pass from Marcus Smart to give Boston a dramatic 115 to 114 point victory over the Brooklyn Nets. lost in Game 1 of their first-round playoff series. In quotes, "When he took that dribble, we just kind of made eye contact. He made a great pass," end quotes, Tatum said. In quotes, "It doesn't get any better than that. A buzzer beater in a playoff game at home," end quotes. Tatum scored 31 points, the last two on the first buzzer beater of his career. It was Boston's first in the postseason since Paul Pierce in 2010 against the Heat. Tatum's bucket came after a poised Boston possession in the frantic final seconds. Kevin Durant missed on the other end. Boston rebounded and raced up the court, electing not to call a timeout. This has been the daily global English news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. My name is Todd David Goldfinger. Please log in to get the latest news on our social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices: Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. Also, all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views and editorials. Our Millennium TV apps: Millennium TV USA, Android, Millennium News, Google, www.millenniumtv24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24. Thank you so much, and may God bless us all. Peace.